Well, hello, and happy Saturday to everybody. I hope everybody is having a great Saturday afternoon and a great weekend, as usual. My name is Don, and I want to welcome you to another great episode of The Color of Motion, where I like to say stories come in all shades. And I highlight people of color and diverse backgrounds in the industry of motion graphics, animation, visual effects, cartoons, and comics. And we definitely have a great guest on that falls into the latter there, cartoons and comics. And so looking forward to sitting down and chopping it up with my next guest for sure. You know the drill. Jump on, say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. While, of course, I do a little housekeeping and make sure that we are broadcasting from all my channels there. If you are, you're able to tune in. We're here every Saturday afternoon, of course, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. So, and you're able to find me and the show on my LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook page. That's where you can check out the great episodes that we have. If you are tuning in from Facebook, you may need to give Facebook permission or StreamYard permission to pull your comment and your avatar from there. So if you do, just go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. Give StreamYard permission to pull your comments so I can show you a little love. But say hello, say where you're tuning in from, and let me know how your weekend is going so far. I seem to be broadcasting on LinkedIn. Okay, so let me make sure that everything is as it should be on Facebook. Been working hard. Like I said, I'm super excited to be sitting down with my next guest and friend here. So been looking forward to talking with him and diving into his story and what the big project he's been working on. We're going to dive into that as well. Again, you can tune in from all my channels. If you do happen to be tuning in from LinkedIn or Facebook, I highly suggest that you go to my YouTube page and subscribe. YouTube.com/Don Terrell, where you can check out this episode and all the other great episodes that I've done so far and all the other great content that I plan on putting on the channel as well. All right. Let's see. It looks like I am broadcasting. Yeah, like I said, I'm super, as you know, I've been dropping little hints and everything and little updates on the new format. Well, not format, but I like to say new studio for the show. And it's going to be coming and debuting really soon. And I'm really looking forward to it because the everything will be so much easier, so much faster, and much better. Excuse me. Much better. Okay, I seem to be broadcasting from all my channels. So I'm super excited to unveil that soon. I think I'm like maybe 3, 4 more weeks out before I unveil the new studio. But everything is looking great. Everything is coming together nicely, and I'm super pumped to unveil that to you as well. All right. We are good to go. All right. Again, make sure that you drop a comment, say, hey, where you're tuning in from, and please get ready to have a great conversation with my friend here. All right, we are ready to go. All right. That without further ado, because I spent the last week, I mean, I must have wrote out a ton of questions and stuff I wanted to ask him and go through, and which I know I'm not going to get halfway through all the stuff that I want to talk with him about, but just I fell in love with his artwork and saw his artwork and just immediately fell in love with it. Said, I got to reach out and connect with this brother. And thankfully, he connected with me and got a chance to talk with him and agreed to be on the show. And like I said, it's just so excited and so happy that I can now call him friend. And like I said, really looking forward to this new project he's working on and really everything that he's doing. So like I said, I'm going to show his some of his work and a little video once we dive into it a little more. Mr. Brian Little, appreciate you as always, my friend, tuning in from LinkedIn. So I'm glad it's going across on LinkedIn as well. So I appreciate that, my blockhead brethren, for sure. And like I said, you'll enjoy this because, like I said, I know you're a comics buff and cartoons buff, so you'll definitely enjoy this episode for sure. So, without further ado, my next guest, your friendly neighborhood artist, is an American illustrator and currently the creator and artist behind comic projects such as Tuskegee Airs and Supernatural. A longtime lover of video games, comic art, and all things animated. Man, after my own heart. He's dedicated his young artistic years to fine-tuning his illustration muscles by way of freelancing. Over 15 years later, he's catching his stride and still ever growing in hopes of being a well-rounded illustrator. Living in Atlanta, Georgia, he spends most of his time toiling away late nights on everything from illustrating children's book, comic art, to random character commissions and more. A proud father of two, which I'm not sure how he gets all the work done that he gets done. He somehow manages to steal enough time to create loads of artwork and check homework. He's excited about the direction of his comic properties are headed in, and he looks forward to creating more forms of visual entertainment and stories to enjoy. Everybody, please help me welcome my guest and my friend, Mr. Marcus Williams. Mr. Marcus.
What's going on with you? What's going on with
you? What's going on? What is going on, Marcus?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Thank you for the great introduction and making me feel special.
I make all my guests feel special, but man, you're so deserving. I feel like we're twins here, man. We got hats on, and as everybody can plainly see by the amazing artwork behind you, you are a super talented
thank you
comic artist. And like I said, I immediately saw your work and just said, I got to connect with him. And so I'm so appreciative. And I told you this before, so appreciative that one, you accepted my connection request, and two, that you agreed to be on the show and part of the Color of Motion family. So I thank you, brother.
Most of. Thank you for reaching out, man. It's always a pleasure to at least share. I guess it's why I do what I do, because again, I was just having a great conversation before I got on. You never know who you can impact. You never know what, if you share your inspirations or the reasons you do something, someone could literally be waiting to be like, oh, okay, cool. That's what I was waiting to hear. That's I've never heard that perspective before. Yeah. You never know. You just never know. So I love at least sharing the madness that goes on up here and why I do it. So it's a pleasure, man. Thank you for reaching out. Let's chop it up.
Let's chop it up. Like I said, you're a brother after my own heart, man. I love comics, cartoons and just everything animated.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I know how I was kind of growing up as a kid. What were you like kind of growing up as a kid?
Oh man. Well, see, and I have to start by dispelling the concept of talent in me. And everyone tries to push back. I'm like, no, you just don't understand. I love drawing for early as I can remember. I just wasn't good at it. I was not blessed with any talent. There was no natural skill. I was not adept at drawing. My brother chronicled all of my levels and, states. He used to say how terrible I was. He's like, why can't you draw better? I'm like, I'm 7. Just give me a second. I'm going to get there. But he tries to take credit now. He's like, if I didn't tell you how bad you were, you never would have got good. I was like, nah, it's not how it works. But no, I love video games. I loved cartoons. I loved animated stuff. Disney used to have these late night specials, and I rallied to the TV. And I actually loved the behind the scenes stuff that they would show, the making of the cartoon. So you got to see it in production and see all the rough pencils. And I remember wanting to like snap my fingers and be like, man, I want to draw like that. I just want to draw like that. I didn't get my first comic until a neighboring kid, right up the street, was like, oh man, he was talking about Wolverine. I'm like, who's Wolverine? Why do you keep saying that? And he was like flabbergasted. He was like, what? You don't know who Wolverine is? I was like, nah, now who's that? And I mean, he brought over comics. He brought over an X-Men comic that was drawn by Jim Lee at the time. And it was the cover that had Wolverine and Omega Red split down the middle.
Yeah.
And that was my first Wolverine comic. And I'm just like, so you telling me this dude has, blades come out of his hand. He has a healing factor. He's, good at fighting. And I'm like, it blew my mind. So it was the concept, not only the artistic side, but the concepts. That I had never played a video game that was about somebody like that. I'd never seen a cartoon. And of course, not long after, X-Men the animated series comes on TV, and I'm like, watch out, everybody move. And I was religiously in front of that cartoon. So it was like being introduced to a printed character, comic character, and then shortly after getting to see a cartoon. And this was. There's no internet back then. You couldn't know that this was happening. Yeah. But I came in right around that time into comics. And I knew about Superman, I knew about Spider-Man, but I didn't read their comics or anything. So fast forward, I got my hands on as many comics as I can get. I was there when Spawn came out. I was in high school at the time, and I tried to draw like that. I tried to draw like all these other styles. And then Joe Madureira started drawing for X-Men. And that, I think, impacted me the most, style-wise and the energy. Like trying to, he married 2 different energies, anime energy and Western comics. And he put that in one. And that, again, a whole new level of, it's like watch, and I like to compare art to martial arts because there's different styles, right, to martial arts, and you can emulate or imitate a style, but you may not master it like someone else that has dedicated their life to just that style or just that energy, right? But I think that's what I studied the longest, comic art wise, was Joe Mad. And that dude is still, I haven't met him in person per se, but he's commented on some stuff online, and that's like a Bruce Lee to me. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, shut up, stop lying. You don't got to say nice things about my art. But that's where I guess the comic side of me started to really round out. And I was graduating high school at the time. My first job was really, really lucky. I landed. I got to frame it. So I was working at the movie theaters after high school. And, a young lady that I went to high school with, she comes up to the booth and she's like, hey, Marcus, you still drawing? I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm still drawing. I'm just working at the movie theater to get some money. And she's like, you need to meet my uncle. That's a really weird thing to say to an adult man. Why do I need to meet your uncle? And she's like, well, he's the art director at this company called Cartoon Network. I was like, you know what?
Man.
Yeah, I get off at 3.
Yeah,
Let's go meet your uncle tonight. And we actually did. Like as soon as I got off, literally drove, met her uncle. He is the art director. Looked at my little sketchbook, my little tattered sketchbook. I didn't have anything professional. I was like 18 at the time. So
yeah,
that rolled into me getting some freelance work for Cartoon Network. I was drawing Powerpuff Girls comic pages. I got no credit for it, but I got a lot of money. So
that's just as nice, I tell you. Well, man, that is, it's amazing how some things just kind of work out.
Yeah. That's not normal. I don't want anyone else to hear that story and think that's normal. Yeah. Because I went on to marry that young lady, and
wow, okay.
Yeah, so, I was married for 14 years. That's not normal to do unless you like snipe and stalk someone's,
Oh man, and you kind of touched upon you touched upon a few of the questions that I kind of was going to ask. One, the fact that, like I said, when I saw your work, you had a very unique style, and I think I had even mentioned this when we were talking when we first connected, almost kind of that Boondock style where it was slightly animated, like I said, this mesh between animation and traditional comic art. Like I said, do you feel like that's where you kind of came in your own kind of style when you came across Joe's work? That's when it crystallized for you. That's what your style is.
No, because Joe, that's like there's people that can look at my art and they can see Joe's influence in certain places, but I actually on purpose don't try to emulate Joe Madureira's work. I highly, highly, highly respect it. I studied his work and tried to draw exactly like him, but if you think about it again, take the martial arts analogy. You walk into a martial arts studio today. I want to learn Kung Fu. I want to learn karate. Right? The teacher is going to say, great, show me what you can do. Here, you're going to probably do a punch that's probably going to tell you it's wrong. Right? And then he's going to show you how to do a punch, how to do a kick, and how to do striking, and how to do all these things, the concepts and the mentality of it all, right? And you're going to, in repetition, emulate what they're showing you until you actually get their approval to say, all right, cool, now you can move to the next step. So while Joe wasn't my teacher in person, that's how I had to reverse engineer line, character, anatomy, action scenes, poses, all of the stuff that he was doing in the books. I was trying to emulate and say, okay, like this. Oh, okay, I got. But that was the tutelage part. That was my academia part of how to draw comics. But style-wise, that's his style. And he's famous for it. I don't want to be known for being a imitation of Joe. Yeah. So I learned, and this is honestly what Bruce Lee did as well. I learned his methods and his styles, and as best as I could, I can actually draw like Joe if I put my mind to it. Yeah. I studied him long enough, and at this point in my skill set, it's like you take a jazz player. And you have someone say, kind of like this, they'll do some scat, and the jazz player will be like, okay, I got it, and start playing. That's where I'm at in my illustration career. So you can show me something and say, can you do a portrait of someone? So that's the Chadwick and that's Eddie Murphy from Coming to America back there. I can absolutely render what you show me. Like you said with Boondocks, though, that style was created for that cartoon. Yeah. And it brought together, and there's not, the only reason some people will look at Tuskegee Airs and the style that I created, which is supposed to be animated and comic at the same time. I said, oh, that's kind of like Boondocks. That's the only reference they have for a successful cartoon animated series that had more than 3 Black main characters on purpose. So it's okay. And, I'm like, I understand why you why they would say that. But no, that's not my style. Is not one thing. I can actually take from all of my influences: animation, comics, character design from video games, and anything else. As I've studied all these mediums, now I can pull together one or more and combine them into something. I can make a comic, animated, style. I can make any style as I choose. I can, I combined portrait art with that shot with T'Challa and Akeem, but then I pulled in comic aesthetic as well, which is to say, well, what if Akeem had his own power suit in Zamunda, right? So that's an example of that. That's, someone would say, oh man, I love your style, but that's two different styles that I'm pulling from: portrait art and comic art.
Comic art,
Tuskegee Airs is animation and comic art, and a little bit of some my own flair in there. But style, as it is to me now, is everything that I've learned, and what am I trying to convey?
Gotcha. Now, you said your brother really kind of helped you out a little. How are your parents?
He literally just said I wasn't good. That's the best as it could go. Yeah.
How are your parents influential or just inspiring or motivating for you to nurture your skills and talent?
I had my mom. She was a single mother. She had 4 boys. I'm the youngest of 4 boys.
Okay.
So she was nurturing in the sense, because she had to work a lot. She had to work, but it's weird because my mom didn't come up as she was the second oldest out of 8 boys. She was the only girl out of 8 boys, and I had to put the psychology to it in hindsight. My mom, couldn't afford to be, or she couldn't afford to be that, oh baby, come, and I'm so proud of you. Like she was raised in an environment that was kind of like boot camp, right? Yeah. And so she had to be like a second mom as a child. So with all boys and her being the only girl, it was probably not easy to be that nurturing, soft type, right? So she didn't come out. I don't think she came out as a tomboy. She didn't talk about that, but she had to survive in that atmosphere, which was do what I say, or you're gonna get jacked up. So my mom was wonderful. As a single parent, she nurtured and gave, bought sketchbooks. I had paper, I had pencils, I had toys, I had video games, I had all these things that I didn't have to want for. And in hindsight, like, even her working, I had my older brothers to watch me while she was at work, but I would show her the drawings when she came home, like, look, Ma. She was like, oh, that's nice, baby. Did you clean your room? Yes, ma'am. I did. She's like, all right. Well, go ahead. Let me get situated. And that's real nice. Go sit down. Right. And it wasn't, I didn't take it as a hurtful thing.
Yeah. It's just how she was.
And now I'm like, man, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work that she had to do. And I've seen, like my business partner, I said, I'm jealous of his mom. His mom has like come to Comic Cons and sat down at the table and helped us vend and stuff. I'm like, don't you ever say nothing bad about your mama. She's amazing. And I want to trade your son status so I can be her son. So, sometimes she's, super, super supportive. She's very openly, accolades and baby, I'm so proud of you and stuff. And I'm like, that's awesome. That's awesome. My mom didn't, that's not her personality type.
Yeah.
She's like, how much you get paid for it? I was like, Ma, it's my book. I made it. So no one had to pay me for it. Oh, okay.
Oh man. Like I say, kind of sounds like while she was supportive, I don't think she necessarily got where it would go or where it would take me.
No. And she's from that other generation. She's from that other generation,
that kind of generation as well. Right. So no, I get. So outside of video games and comic art, were there interests of yours outside of art that you enjoy doing? So like, what other things outside of art do you think kind of really, made you a much well-rounded person?
Yeah, so that movie recently, I'll reference the Soul, Pixar movie, Soul, that just came out. I like the movie as a foundational piece. I think they did a great job with the concepts of it. The heart of that movie, spoiler, is that the main character thinks that being a piano player is his purpose.
Yeah.
Right. When he gets everything lined up and he gets what he thought would be his dream, he's disappointed because he's like, well, I thought it would feel better. I thought this would be more. And that hit home with me. Like, people think that I'm just an artist. And I'm like, I know intimately that I'm not just an artist. I do art because it's quick and it's cheap. I don't have to buy a new set of canvases and paints and brushes when I want to create digitally. And I could get my idea out there. I can share it. I can get feedback. It's quick. It's easy. It's cheap. And then I can reproduce it for cheap as well. Yeah. So, but that is not, I'm actually a creative person in terms, like I as a kid, I loved inventing. I don't know if you ever did this. So, the light switch, I got the top bunk because I would always get voted out because I was the youngest. But so we slept in bunk beds, me and my brother, and so they would always tell me to, go turn the light off. And I'm like, I'm on the top bunk. Why, you're on the bottom? You just go do it, right? And they're like, nah, you do it. And I'm like, ah. So I literally tied I begged my mom for some fishing string because I was like, it can't just be regular string. I got the fishing string. And she was like, why? Why do you want fishing string? I was like, please, mama, please. And wrapped some fishing string, taped them with some duct tape, and I literally had these little screws with the little loops in them.
Yeah.
And I made this whole contraption that went from my top bunk bed to all I had to do was pull it. I had a G.I. Joe, man. All I had to do was pull the G.I. Joe, and it would pull the light switch up or down. Right? Now, it didn't last because I was a very amateur, inventor at the time. But that was like the top of the world. When I did that, when I debuted my invention for the first time, that was everything to me because they was like, turn the light off, Marcus. I was like, no problem. And then it was like, what? Yeah, it was like, what did you do? I was like, nothing. Just turn the light off. But yeah, it was. I love inventing. I love problem solving creatively. I love video games to the point where I want to make games. I went to school briefly for game art and design.
Yeah.
I didn't finish college, but that's absolutely where I want to go. So programming and coming up with different types of tools and entertainment, I think is definitely part of who I am. So growing up, that's why I was addicted to video games. I played the game for what it was, but in my mind, I saw it in layers. So I saw the visual aesthetic was beautiful. I love the art that it took to do that. But I'm like, how in the world did they create this? You press a button and the character jumps and swings a sword or shoots a gun. And in my young mind, I'm like, how? It's magic. I want to do that.
Yeah.
So.
Now, like I said, you just echo so much of how I kind of grew up. Like I said, I'm the youngest of 10. So, yeah, I'm the youngest of 10. And I have to give a shout out to my sister there, Jordan. That's my sister. Yeah, the youngest of 10. And I slept in triple beds. So we slept in triple beds. Fortunately, I wasn't on the bottom. I was in the middle. But just like I said, I was just that creative type myself. And always, kind of either in my own world with my toys or trying to invent this or come up with that or just that kind of mindset. So that's why, like I said, I really resonate with how you grew up and how everything that you're thinking and thought as a kid. So you didn't necessarily take training or formal classes for your art. You went for game design, and everything that you do artistically, drawing wise, is just natural what you've learned and practiced over the years.
Well, before I went to I was already I'd already freelanced for Cartoon Network before I went to college. I was drawing to a level that I could at least render, clean artwork and proper artwork before I went to college.
Yeah.
So I was already freelancing. I went to college to learn, oddly enough, in hindsight now, Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator.
Yeah.
Someone was like, "You need to learn Illustrator." I was like, "Why?" And they're like, "That's the professional, and you got to get." I was like, "Okay, well, go learn Illustrator, I guess." So I did graphic art and design. That was my major. They didn't have all the cool stuff when I went. They didn't have sequential art just yet. I would have did that if they would have had that. But then they added game art and design while I was doing that that major. And I was like, oh, screw this major. I'm gonna go game art design because I want to make games.
Yeah.
So, but I got a lot of the core. I did learn Adobe Illustrator while I was there. But it was literally just to understand some software training. And I was hoping to get into 3D animation and 3D art and all that good stuff. I had friends that were doing that, so I was excited about that. So, there was no formal training. If that's to clarify, no one taught me how to draw formally.
Yeah.
And I don't like to say I don't like to say self-taught because in my definition, that means you're in a vacuum. There is no inspiration.
Yeah.
You just like closed off the blinds and you're in a room and I'm gonna figure out what line means and I'm gonna figure out what shape means. No, I reverse engineered everything I know about, or all of the things and now that was in high school. During high school, in my 11th grade year, I got to do something here in Georgia. They have a program. I don't know if they still have it. It's called Governor's Honors. And what it was a program that highlighted students in high school that said, if you're excelling at one thing, we're going to give you an opportunity to go to a college campus for 6 weeks and be taught respectively by a professor in that discipline or that field of expertise. So they had it for every extracurricular thing that you could think of, math, science, whatever. Mine was art, obviously. So I actually won the competition for my county here in Gwinnett County. And I got to go and learn art for 6 weeks at a campus in Valdosta, Georgia. So everything I know about art, I thought I was doing pretty good. The teacher there, and I cannot for the life of me find who this woman was. I can't remember her name. But she was an older lady. She wore sandals every day, had Coke bottle glasses. She's like, draw something. And I was like, okay, cool. And as soon as I put my hand on, the paper to draw, she's like, you're doing it wrong. I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, yeah, you're doing it wrong. And I'm drawing. I'm like, I'm best artist in my class. What are you talking about? And she's like, no, you're doing it wrong. And she said, okay, first off, hold your pencil like this. I was like, huh? Like this? She's like, yeah. And she said, step away from your drawing. And we got up on some easels. And for 1 week, this lady absolutely broke down everything I thought I knew about drawing and art and sketching. And she, rebuilt the way I draw from scratch. And I'm still drawing based on what she taught me for 1 week. Now, my arm was sore because she had us drawing on easils like this with vine charcoal. Yeah. It's very delicate. If you press too hard, it'll break. Right. So we could, she was, it was this crash course on how to properly sketch and draw and build a drawing, capturing the essence of something. And we were like, what does that mean? And then she showed us. It was like watching a Jedi use the Force because she was like, stop looking at your page. There's no information there. She's like, the only reason you should look at your page is to check and then go back to your content. We're like, that's impossible. And she did it like right in front of us. The model was over here. Yeah. She was doing this. And she turned and then started looking at the model and finished the drawing. We was like, that's witchcraft. There's no way. Wow. But at the end of the week, we were all doing that. So it was pretty phenomenal.
So do you feel like that's something every kind of artist or aspiring artist should do? Take those kind of classes, like life drawing kind of classes, to really get a foundational, a great foundation of drawing and being able to draw and not look at what you're drawing or not look at the paper and look at what you're drawing?
Oh, well, to put it in perspective, what she taught us was absolutely imperative to understanding mastery of drawing, mastery of line, mastery of, different ways to build imagery. It's not the only way. But for her and what she taught me, it literally reverse engineered. So now I can draw something, and if you want me to share the screen before we end,
Definitely.
I can give you an example. I can give you an example. I can sketch something within 30 seconds, and you can understand what it is, even though it may look messy and there's lines everywhere. Because of that training, I can now sketch 10 character poses in a matter of minutes, right? To get what feels best, which of these sketches feel best, versus spending an hour trying to get one right? And that's what I was doing before that class. I would take time, I would go slow and say, oh, it's not right, and erase.
Yeah,
she was like, we didn't have erasers. She was like, draw through the mistake, move the line. It's like, what does that even mean? What are you talking about? But because, what I would suggest is that if you're aspiring to understand art and drawing or any element, let's say sculpture, whatever it is, literally being a pupil from someone that has spent 30 plus years doing that thing is going to streamline and or hopefully, if they're a good teacher, be able to show you practically the skills that they have mastered and then teach you incrementally how to build that, because you still have to practice. But they can at least introduce you to the tools and or the answers that they've now cultivated over 30 plus years of doing that thing. So I think that's what I would suggest. Anyway, if you can afford it, if you can do it. Granted, I have to say lucky in the sense that I was chosen out of thousands of students. I didn't even want to go. My teacher forced me to do this competition, and I thanked her for it because it did change me as an artist. But I really didn't. I thought I was good, and I could draw, but I was like, why do I want to go there? But mess up my son's vacation. I could be out playing video games. But to this day, I'm like, if I can't, I hope she's still alive. She was already older in age, but she absolutely changed my perspective on line, drawing, and how to build quickly concepts. So I would suggest, yes, get formally trained by someone that has made that career their lifetime work, because they're gonna be able to kind of spread apart all the pitfalls and all the noise and say, here's what you need. And in 6 weeks, that's not a long time. Actually, I only had 1 week with her. 1 week. And my arm was sore, like I said, when I was done. But she was a great teacher. She was able to literally say, do this, like this, and you'll get better. So
get better. Yeah. So are you the type of artist, illustrator that has to draw every day? No, I don't. So again, I'm not just an artist. I love creativity in all forms. So drawing is therapeutic and meditative for me. I don't always have to meditate per se to be creative. So me just being in my head is fun for me. And that's hard for a lot of extroverts that know me. They're like, come on, man, let's go. I'm good. Good. You want me to go pay to go be in somewhere? I don't like the music. I don't drink. And I also don't dance. So it seems a little unnecessary. I get socialization, but it's too much extra work. But I don't have to draw per se to feel like I'm being creative. It's a really, really good way to crystallize concept, to see it and say, yeah, like that. That's what I was thinking. But think about it in this term. To draw something means I have to now render what I've been thinking about and what's already cool up here. I enjoy it up here. But when I draw, I'm challenging my ability to control line, shape, color, and find a cool way to present it on, a page, if you want to say, digital page, whatever. And then present that to someone else to hopefully see if they get it. It was cool up here. I was already entertained. But drawing it means I have to now put in effort to render it, which I enjoy, but I don't have to. So in saying that, have you never had to deal with just a mental block, or say like how some other artists deal with imposter syndrome, feeling like they can't do this or not able to get this done? Do you still deal with that, or are you able to at least manage and control it
Yeah.
with the
Oh,
tools and
absolutely.
things that you learn?
I still deal with it, but I've found ways using online tools now, man. Pinterest. So for me, this is work for me. Being able to cycle through and scroll through other artists' work that have solved creative solutions. What they solved that problem because they obviously did the work, so they posted it. But being able to cycle through just endless, artist work and be like, so for my brain, seeing something that sparks, I just need a jump start. If I'm not feeling like, I don't know where to start right now, and I'm not looking at the art to say I'm going to draw what I see. I can look at a sketch that has motion in it and say, oh yeah, stupid motion. You forgot about that. That's a thing.
Yeah.
You should add that, and that'll help me to jumpstart. Oh, sweet. Or I never thought about that perspective. A bug's eye perspective, or this kind of composition. I've never thought about doing that. That's amazing. Let me sketch something based on that. That solves it for me. Just knowing that, being able to see someone else solve these problems, I'm like, creativity. Yeah. Sweet. Okay, good. And I guess musician would be like, going into different arenas and listening to other music. Yeah. I was listening to somebody talk about Prince, and he went into, it was Arsenio Hall was talking about, they went into some after hours clubs and stuff, and Prince would just be vibing on the music. Yeah. And I'm just like, yeah, like that. Like, he can create music, but he's taking in stimulus and saying, interesting. Yeah. Interesting.
And so do you feel like that's kind of a hang up of a lot of, say, younger artists, or even some artists that get caught up in like looking at the work, oh man, I can't do that, or just getting kind of intimidated by there's a lot of impressive work out there. Like, you can go to ArtStation and just sit and scroll through stuff for hours, whether it's 3D, 2D, or whatnot. And I'm like, holy mackerel, how did it, create something like that? Do you think that's where a lot of the hang up is for people really kind of going past that and really getting into their own?
The only reason I would say it's a hang up for anyone looking at, and I've talked to these people, I've actually heard that perspective, like, oh man, you make me want to stop drawing. I don't get that because I know how to draw. Or I understand how to reverse engineer or be inspired. When I look at art, I'm looking for how did you do that?
Yeah.
Wow. And people don't believe me. Listen, I'm gonna say it again. I'm training myself how to color still to this day. Any artwork you see where I have to color, but when I say that, I'm talking about there's digital artists and painters and everything that pick colors. Their color palettes are out of this world to me. Yeah. I'm like, I would never choose that color ever. Yeah. But when I look at someone else's work and I'm like, wow, Marcus, you need to start using that color. Try that. So it inspires and challenges me. And again, so if you're a martial artist and you're looking at another martial artist exhibit what they can do, it's not supposed to make you feel defeated.
Yeah, yeah.
It's supposed to say, wow, that's exciting. I've never done a roundhouse kick like that before.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to let me see if I can do that, and that's how I process it. So, but if that artist is not skilled, they don't have the handle on skill yet, they're still trying to learn how to draw, then it can be defeating. And this is why I don't do art challenges for little kids. Defeating someone or basically pitting someone against other people based on skill, especially at a young age. If you're going through and you're seeing other skilled artists and you see that as competition, versus I need to learn how they did that, then that can absolutely shut you down. Kids shut down quickest, in my opinion, because I've seen that shut down. a kid will look at, you know, a whole class of kids around them drawing and say, well, I can't do it like they're doing, so I don't want to try.
Yeah.
I just quit.
Yeah.
And they'll emotional and everything. So I've seen kids start tearing up. I'm like, whoa, you don't have to draw like they do.
Yeah.
But let's, you know, understand it's okay to be where you are and just try. You're gonna get better if you keep trying, right? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay. You gotta keep trying. I said,
keep at it, keep doing it.
The weirdest thing to me that I keep hearing all the time is I've heard people say, well, I tried to draw once and I was terrible at it. I was like, and then what? you didn't try again? It's like, no. Yeah, I was like, that's not how it works. I said, if you sit there at a piano for the first time, are you gonna be able to play Mozart or not? You know, and they're like, probably not. Yeah. So you practice, but you don't practice in a short amount of time and get to that. You have to literally span that out for years, or if you're adept at it, you'll probably be better than most, but you still got to practice. So that's where I'm like, nah, it doesn't work like that. The weird thing is that people think art is either you got it or you don't. Yeah. And I still don't understand why that flies, because it's the furthest from the truth.
Yeah. I've got that a lot too. Oh, well, you got a talent for it. Well, you know, I sat drew. I mean, you know, like anybody, you do it enough, you get better at it. You know, you get better.
And you got to fall in love with practice. You have to be passionate about improvement and seeing it and framing it that way. Otherwise, it's busy work, I guess, or it's like, you know, what are you doing it for if you're not passionate about it? Yeah. And I've known kids that have been forced to play an instrument by their parents. They get good at it, but they hate doing it.
Yeah.
They hate doing it.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm going to throw up some of Marcus's work. So like I said, you do amazing illustrative style. And just, I love it. Myself. Again, do you, and you said you love animation as well. Is that kind of where you kind of like, and we're going to dive more into your project Tuskegee Airs, as you can see a little more, but is animation just another piece in your creative toolbox that you just love and would love to get into doing?
Yeah, I mean, I see animation as like, I used to want to be an animator. As a young artist, I thought that's what I wanted to be. What I found out after actually seeing the behind the scenes of how many drawings it takes to animate something, that's not the kind of artist I am. And I'm okay with that. I was just like, oh, so it takes 500 drawings to do.
Oh, man, so worse than that.
Yeah. And so I was like, I don't want to be an animator. However, I know how to animate. I actually highly respect animators. Yeah, that's not what feeds my career. That's not my. Yeah. I'm not that type of artist. I'm a character designer by trade. That's what excites me. I didn't even know that until my mid-20s, until someone said, "Wow, how long have you been a character designer?" I was like, "Well, I think I'm just an illustrator." I was like, "No, I mean you illustrate, but you're a character designer. Look at your portfolio." And I started flipping through, and it was character. I was like, I never thought of it that way. Okay, then. Yes. I guess I've been a character designer for a while, but that's what I am. That's what excites me about drawing. If you look at my Instagram feed, Facebook, whatever, that's primarily what you see as characters. So, that's what has kept me drawing, and that's exciting for me. So that's why I do it. As much as I do, because it's fun.
I think a lot of artists or just creatives, like I said, and I tell people this when you're just getting into animation, they think they want to animate, and then they get in there. Oh, no, I like modeling, and there's, like you said, once you get into it, you really do find out what you like and what you really kind of don't like, or just I don't have the patience to sit.
You gotta love animation, man. To be an animator and be passionate about it, you have to love the end product so much, or the process. Maybe you love the process, but that's the stuff where I'm like, oh no, Like, this isn't fun anymore. I've drawn 20 drawings of this same character and I've gotten less than a second. So,
oh man, hey,
yeah.
and like I said, and I love, like I said, I love. I'm kind of like you. I'm a creative, and I just love just everything creative. It doesn't even have to be an art. It could be photography. It could be sculpture, but just the idea of whatever it is in your head. But I love
like as a toolbox, I can say, like you mentioned, how do I use? So animation as an inspirational toolbox for me, or tool, is Japanese anime is by far the most, gosh man, I want to say creative or inventive medium, because they solve visual problems for animation that's hard to replicate. You know, it's not cheap to replicate the kind of work they do.
Yeah.
They throw animators at it. They throw people that are passionate about that same style and so forth. So I see Tuskegee Airs as animated, but I want it to feel authentically like Japanese animation, because, well, we haven't seen that except for what they did in the Boondocks. LaShawn Thomas was the character, one of the character artists on that project. He's heavily influenced by Japanese animation.
Yeah, and you've seen his Yoseki, awesome work, and like I said, and if you've seen Black Afro Samurai, just amazing. Like I said, I love it all. I love the Disney Pixar kind of animation. I just appreciate and love just what goes into it, and the fact that even in the simplistic form, you're able to tell a very compelling story or visual from it. And I use this as an example on a couple of past episodes. If you haven't seen it, you ought to check it out, because it's just amazing. Plus, he's got a behind the scenes of it as well. But Ryan Woodard's Thought of You video, and it's just 2D drawing. It's just sketches of two dancers to a song. It's just amazing work, and even its simplistic of form. And that took, he was saying, I think like over 100,000 drawings, and I'm like, okay, that's a lot of
See, that's why I was like, hey man, I don't think I want to do this as a career, but I respect those people, because it takes passion, dedication. You got to shun your family for a while. It's a lot of work, man.
Which brings me to my point. You have two kids. Yeah. How do you balance the time of raising kids and creating artwork? I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of work to do that.
Okay, so after I got divorced, I got divorced when my kids were in pre-K and kindergarten. So I got to move. I moved back in with my mom. She was taking care of my oldest brother. He had frontal lobe dementia at the time. So it was a reset for me to actually say, well, Ma, I can help you out, and you can help me out with, the babies, because I want to have to rebuild my career and start doing this stuff. But I've been raising my babies since then, man. They are teenagers now. My daughter's in ninth grade. My son's in 8th grade. Teenagers, Luckily, I'm saying all that to preface that I got to make. They picked up a lot of my template of who I am, which is I can be in a zone in my space. I made sure that they could be in theirs. Like when they were little, they was trying to run and come from upstairs in their playroom to come mess with my work zone. I was like, where you supposed to be? Come on up. Wrong zone. Let's get back in your play space. Daddy gonna have, and we had times for everything. So I think I trained them to be very chill. They both draw. I got them iPads and Procreate. They both love video games, and I guess collecting information. They can be in their zones peacefully. If I don't make them eat, they won't.
They won't.
It's the strangest thing in the world. I'm like, don't you want? I mean, thank you for saving me money, but go eat, because you have to. and I don't want to be held responsible as an abusive father. But no, they're super chill, man. I love my kids' energy. They picked a lot of it up, I think, subconsciously, just by seeing how I'm seeing my energy throughout the day. I'm not one of those parents. I'm not like my mom. My mom is allergic to anyone not doing something, you know. So she's, she'll interrupt that energy. Like, get up, go do this, go clean that, go do that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, I'll check in. Hey, baby, how you doing? Good. Got that homework? All right. Do you need to shower? Good. All right. Well, I love you. I'm gonna be downstairs. And hours go by, and I have to literally yell at them, go eat. But they're really, really chill. I think they picked up a lot of my personality traits. So it's easier. Yeah, it's easier for me as a single father to literally just, we do take moments and breaks to go walk sometimes, or we'll watch anime together. We'll watch movies together.
Yeah.
Things like that. But they're easy, man. I love my kids for what they are. Hopefully they can maintain that in this crazy world. But
yeah, and like I said, whatever it is, I'm assuming you're like most parents. Whatever it is, they so choose to, go down the path that they want to, that they just have a passion for it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I didn't force drawing on them. I did expose them to it, and I got them all the tools they need if they want to. At this point, though, I say, y'all ain't gonna work for Chick-fil-A. Y'all gonna be running this table with me, or packing up some posters, or starting their own T-shirt, or print company.
I'm in the entrepreneurial.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's no way I'm supporting working for nobody for 8 hours getting paid some pennies. No, you're gonna come and work this convention. Sell your posters, get your money. I'm gonna pay you if you're working for me. And no, we build out your creative entrepreneur thing. And I can't. I did it, and what I learned from working from others is, yes, you do need consistency. You do have to have discipline. You do have to actually meet a schedule. However, you're doing that to build someone else's dream.
Yeah.
The whole time. Yeah. Even if you move up in the ranks of their dream, you're not supposed to bypass them.
Yeah.
And if you do, you'll probably be 68, because they don't want you to move too fast while they're being elevated from all of your hard work. You can be the best manager, the best employee, and they never want you to be sitting right next to them. So,
and at a point, like I said, there's a ceiling that you're going to hit financially, right? Because you're trading hours for dollars, and they're only going to give you so many hours. And if you're the one that controlling your hours and the dollars, then you set the limit of how much that you can get. So kudos to you for really getting your kids in that mindset, because, and I have this, and I've had this conversation with some of my family, because some people just don't get that. And it took a shift for me, because I've worked in advertising and advertising agencies, and shifting that mindset from giving your time to somebody else to actually putting that time into what you want to do and into your dreams is a big mind shift that a lot of people aren't able to bridge, because they need that check or feel, or it's been ingrained in them. I need to get a job. I need to work for somebody.
Right. And it's the same. It's not to say that it's bad to get a job, but it's like, because if you don't know anything about business structure or how things work, my problem is I was working for Kohl's, and I'm challenging my manager as an employee. I'm challenging my manager on how to better, use my time to like chop off 2 to 3 hours when I get to work, instead of doing this ridiculous thing. What if we did it this way, and it'll save time? He's like, no, Marcus, we've done it this way for a long time. And I'm like, bro, this is a waste of energy. And then it was very clear. I'm like, I can't stay in an environment where I know I can solve this problem, but someone else is telling me no.
You can't.
So, no, that was terrible for me. So I got out of that. But if you've never worked for anyone, you don't understand business. For instance, I worked on a comic, freelance wise, before understanding how to make this comic, Tuskegee Heirs. And I asked a million questions. I was very attentive on asking, how do you do that?
Yeah.
And they told me. The publishers told me. And that's rare. The publishers were very open, and he was like, well, yeah, we print out of here. We do this. This is how you save money. And I was like, word. Cool. That's really good information. And I brought it back to my business partner, man. I'm like, yo, we can do this. It's, costs a little money.
Yeah.
But we can actually do. And now we have a publishing company. We have publishers trying to chase after us and say, can we publish your book? We got great deals. We're like, nah, because we got those same deals, but thank you, though. We know how to publish. We know how to print. We know how to do this. So
you're really big on, and especially with something like Tuskegee Heirs, owning that IP, owning that property.
Oh yeah, and it's a labor of love in the sense that we've had opportunities to take the shortcut, where someone is say, oh well, we'll take that off of you, just give us the rights in perpetuity, or we own it, or we've had opportunities to take the shortcut for money, and it's like this is bigger in both of our opinions, me and Greg Burnham.
Yeah.
It's bigger than just money, because we've actually seen people be affected. We've seen kids. We've seen, it's all age. We have a 60-year-old cosplayer that cosplays as Genesis, the one with the glasses.
Yeah.
Because, she's never seen a character that looked like her.
Yeah.
She's 60 years old, right?
Yeah.
That's the kind of things where it's like, maybe we're doing the right thing. So if we give it away, if we take the quick route, it may be bastardized or changed or manipulated to serve another purpose. Yeah. And we're seeing it absolutely working the way we want it. But it's not to say we can't work with people or we can't compromise, but there's certain things we have to maintain steady as she goes, because that's the goal. It's okay for it to be 5 young black. We've pitched it to studios. Do they all have to be black?
Yeah.
The pilots. It's okay that they're black though, right? We've had that question, and it's like,
oh man. And like I said, if you're just tuning in, man, we are having a super conversation with my friend Marcus here, and we're already at the top of the hour. And I said, I haven't even gotten halfway through all the questions or even dived into Tuskegee Heirs. So I definitely want to be respectful of your time. But like I said, there's so many, trust me, I have so many questions that I want to dive into.
I just think we got to do part 2. That's all it is. We just got to do part 2 of the interview.
Definitely. And I would love to get you back on to do a live drawing session as well.
Yes. Yeah.
For sure. That's definitely something I want to do. But I do, before really quick, because like I said, I do want to be respectful of your time. Definitely going to have you back on. But I know I want to dive in quickly into Tuskegee Heirs, for sure. And I'm even going to bypass a commercial that I usually do.
Cool.
I quickly want to play for people just a quick little video to kind of set up Tuskegee Heirs for everybody. Definitely, it's like I said, that's what caught my attention as I was, come across your profile, just the artwork on it and the story behind it, obviously. So I'm going to quickly share my screen and check out this video. It's an awesome little video talking about the Tuskegee Heirs, and we're going to quickly kind of dive into that project and a little bit of what you just mentioned, the older lady that was a cosplayer that said she never seen characters. Because I think that's a big thing about, and really what makes something like this a powerful thing, because it does really speak to people that you probably, you may have thought it would resonate with, but just having somebody come up and say it. And that's why I got it, do this show, because I know for me it was a powerful image of seeing somebody actually doing what I love to do and characters that look like me. So we're going to do a quick little share of my screen here. Screen share. Share screen. And we're going to play this. I wanted it in full screen. There we go. All right. So let me play this. Oh, there we go. Hold on. I was watching it. That's why. There you go.
Just trying to stream everything at the same time, Yeah.
Amazing. Like I said, I have so many questions I want to ask you about this for sure. Right off the bat, though, what was it about the Tuskegee era that drew you just to this?
Yeah. Well, it didn't. Tuskegee Airs was not something that we were. Me and my business partner were thinking about. He was doing a children's book signing here in Atlanta at one of the local malls. Greg, I had illustrated this children's book back in 2013. So we were doing a signing at the mall. It was a children's book event. An elder black gentleman came up to the table. I had my poster sprawled out, but I had the young heroes, superhero, black and brown superheroes I make young. And I had those on the table. And he's like, "This is great, man. This is all good and stuff. But do y'all have anything about aviation?" And we was like, "No." He's like, "Man, y'all need to get some. The kids don't know nothing about aviation and history." And I was like, "Well, I was thinking about doing a young heroes version of the Tuskegee Airmen, just making, some young pilots so kids can see, what that looks like and this, that." And he lit up. He was like, "Yo, if you do that, young man, you can get to this, and you can go here, you can do that." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'll do it. I'll draw some young Tuskegee Airmen." And so my business partner sitting right next, he's like, "Man, we need to write that up." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "The young Tuskegee Airmen thing, we need to write a story about that." And I was like, "All right, let's do it." And so we took like a week. This was like during Thanksgiving of 2015. And we just started pitching, to each other, like, how could we do that? We didn't want to disrespect any of the families by creating, oh, we're going to make the great, 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 great grand person of this real person.
Yeah.
Because they're really, the legacy, the Tuskegee Airmen have real heirs that are still alive. Well, so we didn't want to do it that way. So we came up with the concept, well, what if we make a brand new cast of kids? What if we set it in the future from now? So this is far removed. This is 80 years into the future from now. You have 5 pilots that are being trained based on all of the dynamics and things that the Tuskegee Airmen did. and we said he is a descendant, but we didn't give him a last name. Colonel Mars is the descendant that's teaching these kids, so they're inheriting the legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen. They're not blood descendants.
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, if it's in the future, we can get some jets that transform into giant robots. So, and Greg was like, oh snap, we could do martial arts. And I was like, oh, I'm designing the weapons. They get futuristic weapons too. So the name came really quickly. Usually we fight over names. So it just rolled off Tuskegee Airs. And so obviously that was a play on words, but still it worked for what they were, the story was going to be about. And I did one drawing of what I said. I told Greg, give me like a couple of days, let me design it. And the first drawing I did was on sketch. It was just in my sketchbook of Abel leaning on a giant robot, the mech that they fly. And I posted it to Facebook, man, and people was like, if this is what we think it is, shut up and take my money. And they were like, where's the Kickstarter? Where's the kick? We was like,
yeah,
hold on, wait. This is just the first image. There was no plan for that. We were just saying, we got this idea. So the next one I did had all the kids sitting on a P-51 Mustang. And we created a fan page and got fan following. And then we did the Kickstarter the following year in January 15th through February 15th. And raised $74,000 in Kickstarter. So it was ridiculous.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And that was just for the comic book, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Amazing. So, I mean, how long have you and your partner been working together?
Oh man, over 20 years.
Okay.
We started because he was looking for a comic artist on a project that he was working on, but he couldn't find a comic artist to draw Black people authentically and attractively and stuff. So a mutual friend between the two of us introduced us and said, well, and I'm like, yeah, I draw. He's like, show me. And I'm drawing. So we linked up back then. This was 99, 2000. So around the same time I started getting freelance for Cartoon Network, we started working on a book called Starving Artist.
Yeah.
And he was, this was, Greg's baby that he was working on, but I came on and we started storytelling and I started adding to that element even then as an artist, but I was still, a writer in my own brain. So adding elements and characters and stuff to it. So we came up with it. We finished it. We was printing the book out of Kinko's. It's a terrible business strategy because it costs us like $10 to print one.
Yeah.
But we're selling it for like $4. We got to put it to a store on consignment, and the book was selling out. And we did no advertising, no marketing, anything. We just put it in a store to see if someone would buy it, and people bought it. And the manager was excited. Hey man, I need like more of those books. It was like, okay, but hold on, because that's $50 for 5. Let's just hold on. It was a terrible strategy. So we literally stopped publishing the book and took a break from it for years until we got back into Greg doing his children's books and me working on another comic book to learn the business of it. And then after I learned it, I was like, hey man, we can probably do comics now. So let's.
Well, I definitely want to, like I said, learn about that a little deeper. So how important, I mean, obviously it made a big impact on that woman that is the cosplayer.
Yeah.
How important for you and your partner to be putting out content of, diverse characters, Black and brown characters, to really, speak to people that don't normally see characters look like them.
Right. It's super important, man. It's to me, it's a personal mission at this point because I didn't draw Black and brown characters when I was young. That's not what I saw.
Yeah. The
first X-Men comic didn't have Black and brown characters. The cartoons that I watched, the video games that I played, everything you digest, that's what makes you. Food is the same way, right? But visually, mentally, what you put in, is what you become, what you start producing. And I didn't draw any Black and brown until someone challenged me on it and said, well, why don't you make a superhero that's Black? And I was like, and I had to pause because it was like the way it made me feel was, but I don't want that. I didn't say that. but that's not what was exciting to me. And I was like, why not? I literally questioned myself. I was like, why not, Marcus? What's wrong with a black black lead character? I was like,
Yeah.
I've never seen it. And I started rationalizing and trying to talk myself into the concept. Like, well, I've never seen that before. None of the cool superheroes and none of the cool action. And I'm like, well, why is that though?
Yeah. That's the big question. Why is that?
Why is that? And it started the path. Working with Greg was really important too, because all of the characters in his book were black. Black and brown. He had an Asian. There was an Asian cat in there. Yeah. But yeah, he was very influential too, because I'd never worked with a writer before or another creative that said, well, I'm doing this on purpose.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this to please anybody else. This is what I want to see. So that started our journey as working together in multiple projects, really, along that same path. But now, if you follow my work, if you see the characters I create, I'm doing a competition about mermaids because it's a month of May.
Yeah, all the mermaids that you have some amazing stuff as well.
Yeah. For those that don't know, it's called Mermaid, and it's not my art challenge. It's the internet created, I guess. But all during the month of May, you draw mermaids, right? And I started a couple years ago drawing these, but no one was drawing. Not enough people was drawing black and brown mermaids.
Yeah, we don't care, so
I was like, no. See, because that's that thing. I started researching. Guess where mermaids came from historically?
Where?
It's an African tale. It's an African mermaid, but she's not just a mermaid. Mama Wade is she can actually, turn into a full fish. She can turn into a full snake. That's an African concept that was then cherry picked and said, well, we're gonna make a white lady that's a mermaid. Yeah, but that's African. And yeah, it's so no, it's just that's not what we see.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But
it's in your point, like you said, if you really dive deeper in the stuff, you'll find the actual heritage of where it comes from and things like that. We're just so used, to seeing, like I said, I think if you told people, hey, what do you think Cleopatra looks like? They'll think,
Well, Cleopatra was mixed, so it's fine. She wasn't, pure blood.
She wasn't pure blood, but she wasn't.
She lived out there in the sun.
A little bit tailored.
Right, but that's the stuff. But that's where now the mission is changed to say, what does it mean?
Yeah.
So if you're creating anything, hopefully it means something to you. But now, man, like getting the response is wonderful. When I post something, it really is. I genuinely am humbled that anyone that says they like my art, because I'm not doing it for them. That's the most realist thing I can tell anybody. Yeah. I didn't draw this for you to give me feedback. Yeah. I'm sharing it just to share it because it's. I feel like it can either be of use to someone else, but once it's done, I've already completed the loop for my purposes. I designed it. I created it for myself first. Yeah. I wanted to see this. Yeah. I'm putting it online to show y'all what I did for myself.
Yeah. Art should be an internal thing that you satisfy for yourself.
Yeah.
And like you said, you appreciate everybody that likes it.
Yeah.
And comments and it moves them or speaks to them in some kind of way. But initially, it has to be something for you that speaks to you moving forward. Again, like I said, I definitely am going to be bringing you back, Marcus. Cool. But like I said, I didn't even get through. I had like 30. I really did. I normally write out a lot of questions, but I must have had like 30 questions, even more. And I even know that just talking about things, you'll answer this way, and it'll take me totally in a different direction. So definitely didn't get through half of the things that I have to do. But it does give me the opportunity to bring you back on for sure. And definitely want to get you back on to do like a drawing session. And because like I said, everybody, you've seen his amazing work, and I would just love to see. I love seeing it in action. You know, I'm the type of person that I love seeing it in action and how you go about working and everything.
Right.
Everybody, you got to make sure that you connect with Marcus, check out his work. More importantly, support the projects that he does, because, like I said, that's the only way that these type of stories and these type of things really get out there, is that we have to support it and get behind it. I love throwing up a few comments here and there. Miss Bernice, I appreciate
What's
you
up, Bernice? Yes.
jumping in the show. I mean, a quick question. Like I said, do you feel like you're more illustrative in writing, or do you like the both sides of the writing and the coming up with the story along with the actual artwork type of person?
I like to think I'm the mirror version of what a professional writer is, which is they write from concept to, you know, describing what a character is and or telling a story so someone can understand it, who the character is, right? And that's their medium. It's an art form in itself. I absolutely admire a writer's ability to say, I'm going to introduce you to a concept of, and you're going to, after you finish, you'll understand. You got to read through this though to see the picture.
Yeah.
Right. I'm the mirror reverse of that. I can show you the character. I can show you them doing stuff. I can show you their emotions. I can show you them doing action. And then for me as a creative, as I see the character, the story pours out
to you.
Almost instantly, sometimes at the same time. And it's super easy for me because I'm like, oh, he has a sword that's a gun. So obviously, you know, this happened. This is how he got the gun sword. This is where he goes. This is where he lives.
Starts revealing itself.
Absolutely. Yeah. Internally. But then now, so I'll do fan fictions to practice writing and explaining just little segments, little chunks, like 2 or 3 paragraphs to say, here's what this image is telling. Here's the story that I'm trying to tell with this image. An image can tell it by itself, or here's the problem. People can interpret what they want from an image, even if it's not what I intended. So I drew 2 ladies arguing. This is what I drew. This is what I said was happening in the art. The lady looked really upset at the other lady. The other lady, in my opinion, was scared in the drawing. I posted it. I didn't write anything to go with it. I just said, this is, the only thing I said was the character was saying, say it again, I dare you. Yeah. That was the title of the work. People took what they thought it meant, regardless of what I said was in that line, and started commenting, well, I think this is sexual tension. I think they wanted to. I'm like, what? No. I mean, I didn't come out and I didn't tell you they were wrong, because they weren't wrong. Yeah. That's how art works. It's perception. Yeah. So I literally said, even though this was not my intention, I'm glad y'all got something out of it. It is what it is to you. So I tell the story. I'll do the fan fiction, a couple of paragraphs to try to like reduce that. If I have a story to go with something, I'll just do little chunks, little nuggets of story to go along with the art. And that's how I can practice as a writer to say, well, here's what I'm not saying with the art. Here's some backstory. Here's some context. Gotcha. So, yeah.
Gotcha. I mean, do you like both? I mean, do you prefer working with a writer to write the comics and you put the visual towards it, or do you like, or the way you and your partner are kind of just bouncing ideas back and forth and come out of it collaboratively? I'm assuming he's a writer, he writes, I'm assuming, he wrote a children's book and stuff. So is that a better way for you to work as opposed to just, I wrote this story and kind of trying to figure out and work with the writer to get the visuals of it?
Me and Greg are unique as a duo because we don't even write comics as they traditionally are. Greg has his own, he's published his own book, Search for Sadaka. And he has to then resort to doing things the way traditional comic writers do. They write a script, very much like a television script or a movie script.
Yeah.
dialogue, setting, description. Me and Greg, however, when we come to write a story, it's a conversation, and I'm sketching thumbnails while we're talking, but we're coming up with, story points, beats, and we're refining what's going to happen. And I'm like, oh, that's dope. Oh, I got something for that. Yeah, look. And I'm sketching. I'm like, well, hold on. So if this is happening, then what about what's happening in the background? Oh, so-and-so is doing this. Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. Well, no, we can't do that. Because, so we're literally talking and refining the concept of what's happening. And I'm thumbnailing, and at the end, Greg looks at my, thumbnails and saying, okay, cool, now draw it. I'm like, shit. That's all. He's done. Because, normally we'd write a script. We write a rough guideline, so to speak, that says this is the story beat of issue, whatever. So we know what's going to happen throughout, right? But we don't tie down the dialogue hard, because after I draw it, we both come back and look at it again. Because as a creator and writer, like I said, if I draw something or if I'm drawing, I may actually see something pour out, or the story may pour out to say, oh, you know what? I know we sketched this, but this doesn't make sense in context to where the characters are standing. So now I have to move the camera, or I have to add something that fixes that problem visually. And now Greg is seeing something new. He's like, oh, so wait, so what is she saying? And, oh, okay, I didn't know that was his expression. I was like, yeah, he's this way because this, and I thought this would make more sense. So now we're looking at expressions, people and characters, and now the dialogue is like, okay, so he's saying this, she's saying that, this is saying this is that. And now we write the script actively as we see the art. That's not normal. So that's not the standard way to write comics, but I enjoy it. I think it's actually really, really helpful, creative, because Greg trusts me with not having to put parameters. He trusts me enough to visually storytell or make decisions sometimes where, and I'll run it by him. I'm like, hey, I had to add this. Or if, God forbid, we say we have a fight scene, I don't sketch the whole fight scene out while we're talking. I take time and I'm like, oh, I got something dope. It's going to have to be the very first issue of Tuskegee Airs. It was supposed to be 22 pages. 22 pages. It ended up being 30. That was my fault. It was all my fault. Greg was like, what's taking so long? I'm like, shut up. Okay, we can't have this epic robot battle. It's too short. I need time. And 22 pages became 30 because I needed to really let that action play out and breathe. Now, he was complaining, but when he saw it, he was like, yeah, that's dope. Okay, cool. He was excited to see it all. And I was like, nah, see what I was trying to tell you was this. And he was like, yes, it's fine. Okay, thank God we finished. But it took, so now we have a 30-page book for the most part. Usually so I can breathe and let the action scenes breathe. Normal comics are 22 pages for the most part, like Marvel, DC. Yeah. Like 22 pages. And they don't have to worry about letting it breathe because they have 50 different stories coming out every month. And they have the capacity to make that happen. But it's just me and Greg. I do hire some help sometimes for coloring and inking. Yeah. But everything else, man, it's on. I do art and writing, formatting, getting it ready for the printer, all that, lettering for the book. It's a lot. So. Wow.
And I'm assuming you're fitting this all in freelance work and work that,
You say fitting in. That doesn't mean I'm fitting it in properly. It doesn't always work. It takes a long time for us to get books out because we don't pay ourselves like a full-time job would. Yeah. So we still function in this very grassroots kind of functionality. When we go on shows, when we sell the book, when we're actually doing a lot of conventions, there's times where we can actually pay ourselves back. Yeah. As it's not coming, the expenses aren't coming out of our pockets, coming out of sales. So, but yeah, it's I still have to pay rent. So yeah, I do take freelance. I do take this, that, and the other happening. So that does cut into production time, but it's not always going to be that way. we're going to get into animation very soon.
Yeah.
In the next couple of months. So there's no way I could still draw the book full time and still do this stuff. We're going to get behind an animated series. That's the goal, is to make it into a, animate something that people can watch, digest, see as a family, and hopefully we broadcast it on Netflix or whoever else picks it up. But we have to create that. That's not a part-time gig. It's a full-time thing. So we'll see how that works.
Yeah, that's going to take a lot, but I definitely look forward to bringing you back on once that gets going, and definitely pushing that for sure. Because I, obviously definitely see this as a awesome animated series.
That's always been the goal. From that November, like I told you when we started talking about it initially, animation was the goal then. But comics are far cheaper in relation to saying, let's just jump to a cartoon, and we can control it better.
So, final question. Well, second to the last final question. But is the end goal for you and your partner to curate just your content, or is it to also curate others, be a studio that brings in other stories, or is it more like a kind of like a Tyler Perry where it's, the studio, even though you do other stuff, it's to produce your content?
Yeah, for right now, I'd say, because we created a publishing company, Heir Apparent is our publishing company that we publish Tuskegee Heirs out of. And we've had the conversation about eventually, we don't mind publishing someone else's book, bringing that under our publishing company. Right now, though, it's primarily our creative works, our creative visions being published through it. But it's going to branch out, man. We're going to have to create another company for production. We have to create a production company that feeds into the publishing company as well, to kind of keep things centered. But that's definitely where we're at now. As we bring on more talent, and we're gonna put feelers out there eventually. But we're working. I've targeted a couple of artists and designers that are really talented to replace me. As the grunt artist, I'll still be drawing, I'll still be doing character design, I'll still be writing. But it's not scalable for what we want to accomplish as a company, to produce a cartoon, to produce all the other stuff we have in lined up. We still have to do the business side. And you be doing you gotta have to take yourself out of that role.
And
there's people that are absolutely passionate, hardcore comic artists. That's what they want to do for life. Just like we was talking about animators, there's comic artists that are like that. That's all they want to do. That's what they get out of it. So I want to hire those people and make sure that I can step away without having to micromanage someone. If they get the vision, if they have the skill, and they are consistent with that, it's hard for someone, or looking from the outside in, we get people saying, well, what's taking so long to make the books? And I'm like, it's a fair question. It's not an easy answer. We running a business, running a publishing company from two people.
That's all I'm trying to say. It's just the two of us, basically.
Right, and we can hire out, but again, this isn't our full time. We have to also get money and do things. But so that's where, it's a lot, man. So when it becomes a full time, that's where you'll see we're gonna surprise the world with monthly books, and people are probably not gonna know what to do with it. They probably think we're just storing them up one day. But we're gonna, produce comics and books, children's books, merchandise, everything, and it's gonna all roll out as a machine would when we get more infrastructure and people and personnel. Because Microsoft, or look at what's Amazon.
Apple's started at the garage. So
that's what I'm saying. They weren't meeting. Amazon wasn't meeting demands like that back in the day. But as soon as you build that infrastructure and you actually have it expand, and it's it can actually expand business wise, the model. That's when you can actually meet those demands, and we're gonna get there. Absolutely, that's the goal. But
definitely, I see it definitely getting there. Well, like I said, this last question from FLASHBACK, and actually, it's funny that you said that because He's supposed to be, well, one of the owners of Lion Forge is supposed to be coming on to the show. I
Nice.
got a call with him and was able to connect with him. So definitely that kind of business and setup is something that I'm really interested in as well. So, but definitely it looks like that's what you and your partner have really kind of started to put together in the seas. And trust me, I understand scalability. It's a different thing when you're doing everything yourself. You have to learn if you want your business to scale. You got
Yeah,
to step out of those roles and step into other roles
absolutely.
and bring in people. Last question. Uh, and not that you would change anything, but if you had the opportunity to go back in time and stand in front of your younger self, what would you tell your younger self?
I've had this scenario run by me before. You got to be more specific, man. There's a lot. I got married, like I said. It was a great marriage, great life. A lot of things that I would tell myself different. Or
Career wise,
not even to do different, but are you meaning
career,
as an
career
artist?
as an artist, because
Yeah,
you can tell yourself things. Of course, like I said, it's broad with personal things, but as an
yeah.
artist,
That's a good one. So I think the short answer is I would absolutely have a good conversation about the right way to practice to improve, because I didn't know that in my at 20, 19, 20 years old. I drew when I felt like it. I drew what I thought was good. I drew what I thought felt, but I didn't understand the proper way to practice for me that I've come up with now. There's a proper. People say, "Oh, just draw and you'll get better." It's not necessarily true, because if you're only relying on what you know, how are you improving? You'll get better at what you know, but
yeah,
you will not elevate. You will not get to the next, plateau. And that's back to the martial arts thing. Having a teacher or a sensei, someone saying, "Okay, you've reached this plateau. Now you're going to elevate to the next grade. Now to the next one," right? Because you have to actually, find those elements of improvement. How do you do that if you don't have a teacher? So I would go back and say, this is how you're going to improve quicker by yourself. Here's how you do this, and you have to do this daily, and not just one time. The more times you do it during a day, the quicker you'll improve. So practicing properly as an artist, what I've found is you draw from reference daily. So if everyone I've talked to as a young artist, "Oh, it's hard to draw hands." Okay, well, show me your sketchbook. How many times do you draw hands? Well, I don't draw them because they're hard to draw. I was like, that's why you haven't improved. You won't improve if you don't actually draw the thing and study it visually and from reference. So that just means, and now that we have smartphones, you take your hand and you take a picture of this image right here, right? Okay.
yeah,
If you've never drawn it from that perspective, that's new for your brain. There's a folder, just like a desktop on a computer, in your brain that says, "Okay, cool. So I'm going to solve all of these problems as it pertains to this view." I've never seen that before, never drawn it. You have to draw it, though. You have to see it, then try to draw it. That's where the learning happens. If you don't draw it after seeing it, it's just an image, just like everything else. It's just noise. All right, draw this. This is your first sketch. Turn it. That's your second sketch. Turn it. Third sketch. Turn it. Different. And then turn the light off. Add some shadow. Daily.
daily.
Now you can draw different hand, poses daily, but from reference. You're seeing it. You can take a picture of it with your smartphone. You can go on Google Images. It doesn't matter where you get it. But your brain is a referencing engine. In relation to art, the connection of referencing what you see, trying to understand, because lines don't exist in real life. In this plane of existence, you can look as hard as you want to. Now, these can be considered lines as you see them on my hand right here, these little palm lines.
Yeah.
I'm talking about contouring lines around my finger. Don't exist. I don't have lines on the edge of my neck and face. There's no line on my nose. But if I draw it, guess what I'm putting on top of it? A line.
Right.
To represent, this is the shape of this is the shape of that, that doesn't exist in reality. So your brain has to reference reality and then put lines on top of it. See? So that's doing something that's not natural to the human experience. That takes practice. And so when you see a hand doing a shape, your brain is saying, now how would I put lines to represent this on paper? Because that's how other people can understand and render. Oh, you're drawing a hand.
Yeah.
Interesting. I see the lines. I see the shading. That's what you do daily. And you have to do it. If you do it one time a day, you're good. That's practicing once a day.
Yeah.
That's better than nothing. But if you do it 5 times per day, if you do it more than 5 times, whatever, however passionate you want, however quickly you want to improve, do the math. 5 hand drawings a day for 30 days.
It's a lot of drawings.
Right?
It
doesn't have to be finished. Doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't even have to be clean. But your brain is going to recall and recount every single one. Period. It's not even a snapshot. It's going to say, oh, I've drawn that before. That's how your brain works. It'll literally say, okay, yeah, I've seen that hand from that perspective. I've seen this. See, I would tell my young self to do that because I didn't do that for years, more than 10 years. And even though I was seeing things, I was using reference sometimes, but I didn't practice daily. So I could have probably improved, 10 times as fast because I love drawing, but I didn't know that. So now that I know that, in my I'm about to be turning 40 here this year. So talking to my 19-year-old self or younger, really, anytime, that would have absolutely helped me grow leaps and bounds skill-wise and understanding. So.
Gotcha. So you all heard it from
yes.
Matthew there. Practice. We're going to, Marcus, like I said, I want to thank you. Like I said, we went way over time. way over time. Sean, cool. I still think that you got Sean Bellinger, I think, was at 2 hours. So he's still the reigning king.
Yeah, we're working on it. We're going to work on it next time.
I want to thank you so much for being on the show because, like I said, I could sit and talk with you for hours because I love, like I said, we're kind of this kinder spinner about what we love and just what we do. So I definitely plan on having you back on the show, not only to interview, but to have you do a live drawing session for sure. I think would be really cool. Everybody, make sure that you connect with Marcus. Check him out. He has a website for his work, marcusthevisual.com. Connect with him there. You'll see a lot more of his great work. You'll for sure see it on Instagram. Tuskegee Airs, he has an Instagram. This is such an amazing project. I'm super pumped to see it animated myself. To see where it goes. Facebook page. Check out the Facebook page for it. We want to make sure we support it because, like I said, that definitely helps to get projects like these out. And the only way they're going to get out is this kind of way. Marcus the Visual, check his Instagram page out. And all these links will be in the show note for sure. And make sure you connect with him. Again, his Facebook page, Marcus the Visual. He's also on Twitter at Marcus the Visual as well. We have, like I said, a lot of great comments that have come in. Definitely want to close out with those. Miss Bernice.
I didn't have the comment section up. I was looking at okay, my bad.
Yeah, we had a lot of comments. I was so busy yammering on to throw them in there. Definitely, like I said, the new format of the show is definitely going to allow me to get more interactive and throw things up and make things so much easier. So I'm super excited. Mr. Live Space, great interview as well. Great advice. Really, he really did great advice. Give some great advice there, Marcus. And like I said, I definitely want to sit and talk with you even outside the show about the whole process of putting comics and everything together. So super excited to
Oh, on that
definitely.
note, I guess I can say so. There's a Virtuous Con. If you haven't heard of that, Virtuous Con is it's a virtual comic convention,
Mhm.
and it's going to be coming. Gosh, it's in a couple weeks. Couple weeks. I want to say during June.
Good.
Yeah, and so Juneteenth. I'm sorry, 19th. They're going to do a convention during that weekend. So the cool thing is we're doing a workshop. Me and Greg are going to be doing a workshop.
Awesome.
We're going to be talking about the process of publishing comics and selling comics.
Really?
I'm also going to do, I'm going to be doing a workshop talking about character design. So you'll be seeing me do that. I believe you can register for Virtuous Con actively now.
Make sure.
Yeah,
Actually, do you have the link now that you could throw into the chat?
I
That
do
way
think
I
I
can put
think I
it
can
in.
find it. Let me
Yeah,
see if I can
put it
find it.
into the private chat. That way I could add
Yeah,
it to the show notes because I definitely want to attend that as well. And actually, it's funny. That's how I connected. Well, uh, King's Tune. I connected with the owner of Lions Forge
yeah,
Animation through. They were doing a King's Tune kind of festival, like 5-day festival, and he was doing a workshop or a talk, panel talk, and it's
yeah,
just animation and comics and cartoons for people out of Kingston, Jamaica, because
yeah.
obviously it's starting to grow down there. But definitely, all right, good. And I'm going to
That's
put this in the chat as well so that you can
yeah,
register for it because I'm definitely going to register for it myself.
yeah. It's
And
real dope. It's real dope because she has it's real cool because you have virtual tables and you have like a you log onto the website once you're there during the convention and you can click on a table, double click, and go inside and talk to vendors like virtually.
wow.
So it's pretty cool, really cool.
I'm looking forward to it, man, and really
Yeah,
and we really would love to have your partner on
yeah.
talk about that. And I didn't think about that till earlier. Then I said, man, it would be cool to have both of them on.
Look, Ishmael know what he does. Ishmael talks to both. Look, Ishmael Street talks to both of us. That's the homie right there. It's no, he's just as informed, man. It's the cool thing is we both love sharing. Um, like there's all of this stuff that we know other independent creators are trying to get the skinny on, right? And
Yeah.
we both, me and Greg, both despise the mentality to say, well, just figure it out, young blood. You we got here.
Don't want to do
Yeah.
that.
Oh, I hate it. I
College,
hate it. Like that makes you somehow more important over someone else. Because
keep your secrets or this and
yeah,
that. I mean,
I can't stand it. I'm like, here's the info. Here's where you can go get it printed tomorrow. Call them. Here's their website. Go get it. But understanding how to do something the right way.
Yeah.
You can help someone bypass months and months of just turmoil and trouble. So
Again,
cool.
Marcus, I appreciate you so much, brother, and definitely going to be reaching out to you to, like I said, not only talk to you more personally, but have you back on the show.
Awesome. Hopefully, we'll get Greg on here too, so we can all chop it up.
Much respect for from Mr. Loud Space to the brothers and sisters dropping gems for others to learn. Hey, it's all about helping each other up. And like I said, if you can shave years off of somebody, and I think anybody that's truly successful, any truly successful person, that's really got a good heart, success leaves trails, and they have no problem sharing their success to help somebody else along the way. And I think that's what it's really all about. Everybody, please give my guest warm. I've had you on here long enough, and I usually ask people to kind of hang around the green room. I'm not going to do that with you because, like I said, I've had you on here a little bit longer than was intended, but
thank you as well, brother. I really appreciate it, man. I watched a couple of the other shows, man, that you've done, and listened to the podcast. Similar to Ishmael, and I'm thanking you for this. It's just like I said at the beginning, you guys are highlighting people that have a message, have experience, that are doing things that maybe is seen as, oh, that's not common, but it is common. They're not highlighted.
Yeah,
they're not highlighted. So I appreciate your efforts, bro. I definitely appreciate you reaching out.
Thank you.
Hopefully this helps anybody that listen to it. But that's why, yeah, what you're doing is just as important as the information I'm sharing, because I couldn't reach these people without the help. So I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Like I said, and that's the main reason why I did it, because I know how it was for me, seeing somebody and really connecting with somebody that looks like me and really shares that kind of passion. So again, I'm going to be reaching out to you real soon to have you back on, Marcus. I appreciate you jumping on and being a part of the Color of Motion family. Everybody, show them some love and look out. Make sure you go to the show notes to connect, and we will have you back on for sure.
All right. Thank you, brother. Take it easy, y'all. Thank you.
Guys, it's been, like I said, I could sit and talk to Marcus for hours and hours and hours, because I have a passion for cartoons, comics, and everything like that myself. So I could just sit and talk with him for hours, and definitely going to be connecting with them to kind of learn the skinny on really what it takes to put not just a publishing company, but a media company, because like I said, they're wanting to get into not just books, but animation as well. So we definitely share that same kind of flair and passion for putting out just creative content, whether it be through comics or whether it be through books, toys, games, video games, animation, film, and whatnot. So that type of thing we share and have a passion for. Everybody, like I said, I appreciate you so much for hanging in there. This has been a long one for sure. Way longer than I had intended. So big thanks to Marcus for hanging in there and sticking with me for sure. I appreciate that. Next week's show is going to be just as good, and I'm super excited to have Miss Scarlett Blackwell on, game development engineer, coming out of Savannah College of Art and Design. So really looking forward to sitting down and talking with her about her passion and love for game development, engineering, and no less, not on the design side, but on the back end side, developing it. So I'm really looking forward to it. You know the drill. We're here every Saturday afternoon, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. And again, I am super excited to be unveiling soon the new kind of show and new kind of format and everything. It's going to be so much easier, the things I'm going to be able to do. So super looking forward to laying that out in the next coming weeks. Again, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure that, again, one last time, you go to my YouTube channel to check out not only this great episode, but just all the other great past episodes. This was a super one for sure. And definitely make sure that you go to check out the show notes, connect with Marcus, make sure you sign up for the festival, because the Comic-Con, the on virtual Comic-Con, because it looks like it's going to be a good one, and I'm going to sign up as well to be a part of it for sure. And he threw up the Instagram Virtuous Con. So definitely going to be putting that information in there to share with everybody. Make sure you sign up. Make sure you connect with Marcus. Check out a lot more work. Like I said, I didn't put up half of his stuff that half of the artwork that he has. It's just amazing. So with that, and extra long show, but it was totally awesome for me. Just totally awesome for me. I am going to close this out, and I look forward to seeing you back here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel for sure. And with that, I'm going to close it out. Have a great rest of the day. Have a great rest of the weekend. Have a productive week and be nice. And I will see you next week. Peace and love.